Welcome back to Stock Watch, and joining us live here in the studio is Cheng of Maybank Investment Bank. And Cheng is answering questions about the volatility that we've been seeing in the markets. How has this affected Malaysia? Well,
relatively for last week, we had a very sheltered range. Low of 1163, high of 1182 on Friday, settling about 1178. So I would say without much foreign participation, the local funds managed to support the index and close it about 4 or 5 points up on about 1178 level.
Now, you saw earlier Pong Teng Siu from Jupiter Securities talking about it. Do you agree with him? Have we really been overly optimistic, and do you expect more cautious investors coming up?
I expect more cautiousness in the future. What happened is this October to the August to October effect. Generally with the world, we'd studied trends for 34 years, and the Hong Kong, Dow Jones, KLCI, these trends are very obvious for those months. Generally, August and September are pretty bad months, as in like giving negative returns. October, well, since it's fallen down for the August and September months, October is also bad, but somewhat not quite so bad. But I would say there is a silver lining in the sense that in the new year for Asian markets, we studied that generally the January and February effect is very good, possibly because of Chinese New Year rally, or maybe fund managers putting money into the Asia-Pacific emerging markets. This traditionally happens, you know, they rebalance their portfolio and they put money in the beginning of the year. So for the KLCI, we noticed that generally the first half is generally better than the second half as well.
Now, you track trends. Can you explain why the August to October periods are always seem to be in this kind of uncertain, you know, kind of why? What's going on here?
There's a lot of data to sift through, but let's say that it's an effect whereby if you see the trend happen and you notice it happens in that period, the Americans do it, they sell in August, and then, you know, there's a big crash. If you remember correctly, I think there was a high in August 1987, and Black Monday actually happened in October. So people track these trends, and for us Chartists, the watchword is history repeats. So that's what we put it down to.
Well, companies have also had a tradition of sort of falling over during these months as well, right? Is there any reason for that too?
Not too clear, because too many companies to study in the States, etc.
Right, okay. Now, what can we look forward to in the coming weeks? Not all bad news, I hope.
Okay, the KLCI is basically on a very low volume and low retail participation trend. Regarding what Pong said just now, I think the banking stocks will be kind of stable, but I don't think that plantation would perform so well, because what has happened is the CPO had closed at the low of last week at 2197, and this is bashed down quite badly. I think it lost about nearly 170 ringgits on a week basis. We expect the CPO to pressure lower levels like maybe 2,124, and our plantation analyst has a 2,000 ringgit per ton valuation on the CPO, and I'm looking as far as 1964 on the charts. I think the consumers are not really consuming, and I think crude palm oil is actually going down. So if plantation companies were to go up, they will be diverging against what is happening in the CPO futures market.
Okay, well, to close things off, in this kind of environment, Cheng Hooi, what kind of stocks can we look at very quickly? Okay,
just before that, I think that the CI will go higher, but the risk will get higher towards its target of 1202, 1237, 1244, and 1248. 1248 being the 62% that us Chartists look at. In this sort of environment, we believe that very, very important to be in defensive stocks. We had recommended the last few weeks, NTPM, that's Nibong Tepal Paper Mill, QL Resources, Nestle, and we're also looking at stuff like Guinness. These are very, very price defensive, and fund managers love this in volatile times. So those are the stocks that I think investors should look at in view of the impending so-called volatility coming out in the August-October period.
Thank you very, very much, Cheng Hooi. I'm sure that's going to be very helpful for our investors in the coming weeks ahead. That was Chartist Cheng Hooi of Maybank Investment Bank joining us live here in our studio. Thank you again, Cheng Hooi.